So the Premier League is on pause. We've got the World Cup coming up. And once the World Cup's out of the way, we've got 2 matches the other side of the World Cup break. And then the transfer window opens. So already we're starting to see some stories about some transfer goings on at London Stadium. So I'm just having a little look here at the One Football website. And there's a couple of stories that have jumped out at me that I'm just going to run through with you guys. And if you want to sort of get involved, you've got the comment section below. Please give us your thoughts on these stories. So the first story says that the board are planning to sanction a, quote, sensational player's exit at West Ham. This is from the Caught Offside website. Now, it will probably come as no surprise to you to learn that that player that they are preparing to allow to leave is Craig Dawson. Now, I think it's fairly well established that he's obviously making quite a commute down from his base in the north, and it's causing a little bit of problems with family issues and one thing and another. And let's be fair, we bought him for £2 million, and he's been an absolute bargain, I've got to say. The only thing I will say is that in the last couple of games, he's made a couple of errors that have led to goals being conceded at key moments in matches. And I just wonder whether it's this situation that he's got in his personal life that's impacting on him on the pitch and reducing his level of performance. So for me, I think that if Craig Dawson is to go, that's a great shame. But I think that pretty much all West Ham fans will agree that he has been a successful signing, and I would suggest that he would be given a hero's welcome when he comes back to London Stadium. But then this story then goes on to say that there's a player that we're obviously also looking at coming in. Now, it's not a direct replacement for Craig Dawson because this guy operates a little bit further up the pitch. Now, some of you, if you remember the matches that we played, against Lyon in the Europa League last season, this guy was involved. He was on the bench in both legs, and he came on in both legs. His name is Tetê. Now, he is 22 years of age. He's actually on the books at Shakhtar Donetsk, but because of obviously the war in Ukraine, clubs in Ukraine were given dispensation by FIFA to allow any foreign players to go and sign with clubs outside of Ukraine. So he obviously took that. He took that option, and he went on loan to Lyon. And as I say, he was in the squad for the games that we played in the Europa League last season. So, 22 years of age. He's Brazilian. He's not played for the full national team. He has played at under 20 and under 23 level. As I say, he's down here on Wikipedia as an attacking midfielder or a winger. Now, I sort of look at that and I think, okay, fine. I mean, we've got probably a lot of attacking midfielders and wingers, but are they really sort of pulling up any trees in the Premier League? I mean, Maxwell Cornet's injured most of the time. Jared Bowen's been bang out of form. We've also got Lucas Paqueta. He's not quite settled as we'd have hoped. So is this going to be a player that you sort of is going to be useful? Looking at some of his stats on Transfer Market, he's played in Ligue 1 this season, 13 matches for Lyon. He's got 5 goals and 3 assists to his name in 880 minutes. Last season in Ligue 1, he had 9 appearances, 2 goals, 5 assists in 585 minutes on the pitch. So he's predominantly deployed as a right winger, but as I say, he can be deployed as an attacking midfielder. So 22 years of age, could be quite a useful signing. I think it's fairly safe to say that at the minute, most of our problems are probably because we're not scoring the goals at that end of the pitch. Defensively, we're pretty decent, in my opinion, but I think we need to try and sort of get a little bit of more attacking impetus going. So this might not be too bad a signing. But then there's another story, again, on the One Football website, and this is again from the Caught Offside website, and the headline is 25-year-old Liga striker in his prime wants to join West Ham. Well, this is a guy that's been linked with us before quite heavily in the past, and his name is Youssef En-Nesyri. And again, another player that we locked horns with in our Europa League run last season when we played Sevilla over 2 legs. And he, again, is 25 years of age. He's a Moroccan international. He's obviously a compatriot of Naya Fagerd, or Nathan, as David Moyes likes to call him. And they're obviously together now at the World Cup. So if there's any truth in this, that Youssef En-Nesyri is angling for a move to West Ham, I dare say there'll probably be a few conversations that will be had between those two. The only thing I would say is that, to be honest with you, this is a striker that at the minute isn't scoring any goals. He's made 10 appearances in La Liga this season, hasn't registered a goal, hasn't registered an assist, and in actual fact, according to the stats that I've got here on Transfer Market, he's only played 90 minutes in La Liga once, and that was in the fixture against Espanyol. Other than that, he's been coming off of the bench and all the rest of it. So I got to be honest with you. I mean, I'm not quite sure that this is really the player that we need to be looking at in terms of trying to sort of beef up our attacking options. Just one other little story I want to touch on as well. This isn't a transfer story, but it's, again, a story from the Court Offside website. And it says, David Moyes is reportedly not happy with £86 million West Ham duo. And you've guessed it, he's pointing the finger at Gianluca Scamacca and Lucas Paqueta as not living up to expectations, and has left David Moyes, quotes, disappointed. It may well be argued that, yes, they haven't lived up to expectations, but in my opinion, I'm not quite sure that the way that the team's been set up has been quite tailored towards making the most out of getting their strengths out of them. So I do look at it and think, well, that's a little bit rich from David Moyes, because I think that it's the job of a coach, a manager, to set the team up to try and make the players that he's got with their own individual strengths and weaknesses, and blend that with the other players on the pitch to get the very best out of the whole. And I don't think, in my opinion, that David Moyes has done that. So it's all very well for David Moyes to sit there and point the finger at players, but maybe he needs to try and take a little bit of responsibility of himself. So, yeah, I mean, that's just a few little stories there that I wanted to sort of get off my chest with you. Just, you know, as I say, if there's any comments you want to make about these players, if any of you actually sort of know too much about these players, Tetê from Shakhtar Donetsk, currently on loan at Lyon, and Youssef En-Nesyri from Sevilla. If any of you guys have any thoughts on them, if you think they would be good additions or not, get stuck into it. Get your comments in the section below. Craig Dawson, fairly obviously, he's going to be moving on in January, it looks like. What are your thoughts on him? And have you got any thoughts on who might be a good replacement for him out there that we would be able to realistically attract? And obviously this thing about David Moyes sort of making comments about the 2 star signings, Scamacca and Paqueta. He's disappointed with them. But is it the players, or is it perhaps the manager not setting the team up to get the very best out of them? Let us know your thoughts. Get your comments in the section below. And don't forget to drop a like on the stream, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell notification. Come on, you Irons.